Hey there, I am Marina Ormes here with your Astro Vibe for Tuesday, March 14th. The moon is in Sagittarius. We had a Sagittarius moon yesterday also, and I shared quite a bit about the meaning of Sagittarius and how to think about the big picture, what it means to integrate meaning and tell the story, making sense of what's been going on in recent days and weeks, and how that's showing up and unfolding for you in your life. Today we've got a third quarter moon. So the moon is passing through its last square as it heads back toward the sun. The moon is waning, getting smaller each night, which also means it is heading toward the sun rather than away from it in the zodiac. And it is at that 90-degree point, actually later in the day today, but as the moon passes through Sagittarius. So Sagittarius is also a mutable sign. We are in the moon cycle that began with the Pisces new moon, also a mutable sign. So there is the energy of change, of flow, of letting go, of connecting with the bigger picture. We've had Saturn going into Pisces last week. Pluto is in the final degree of Capricorn. There's kind of this feeling of completion, of letting go, and really thinking about what's important to us in the big picture. What are our dreams, our hopes? What can we imagine for ourselves, our lives, and the future? So today, I thought we would talk about living according to your guiding light, and this energy of the moon in Sagittarius forming a third quarter. It actually, during this third quarter, this particular month, this moon cycle, it also forms an opposition to Mars. During the third quarter, it's forming a square to the sun. The sun is coming together with or conjoining Neptune. So we have what's called a T-square involving the moon, Mars, and the sun and Neptune in Pisces. Other planets involved as well, but those are the main points of the T-square. So the reason that is coming up this particular time is that it emphasizes, it gives some extra oomph and energy to this third quarter. The moon is forming these points every week, right? So we have the new moon, and then the first quarter a week later, a full moon a week later, the third quarter a week later, and then the next new moon a week later. So these things generally move by pretty quickly, but this one is noteworthy because of this T-square. And the T-square is creating some pressure, some additional extra energy of an invitation to growth. And that invitation to growth sometimes means feeling uncomfortable with where we're at, right? It's kind of our teachers and our guides pushing us to say, here's where you could do better. Here's how this could be better for you. So we've got that extra impetus to learn and grow and see how we can be even more powerful and creative and embodying our highest potential. So with the T-square, we've got certainly the moon in Sagittarius, bringing the energy, the qualities of thinking about how we make sense of things, how we're telling the story, how we're making meaning, seeing all the pieces of information and data and how they come together to make sense, to connect the dots and see what it is they spell out. What are they revealing to us? We also have the energy of the third quarter moon, which brings a point of integration. So the 2-week period when the moon is waning, we have all of that 2-week period is about sort of integrating, coming to terms with realizing what has been revealed during the full moon. in this particular moon cycle, it had to do with how we're doing things on the earth plane, in our daily lives, in our routines, in our habits, in our patterns. And that was the full moon in Virgo. So it brings to earth, to the tangible, to the physical world, a need to integrate a bigger picture of spirit, of what's truly important, what brings meaning to our hearts, and what we feel and know to be true in our hearts. So how we bring that into our daily lives, how we update, upgrade, integrate the ideas of these bigger spiritual principles, or whatever is your guiding light, and how we do that in our day-to-day lives. So this third quarter moon is saying, how are you going to integrate that into your internal infrastructure? So your belief system, your way of thinking about things, the way you do things, your thoughts, the things that are habitual. And so we think we have thoughts. And what we don't realize a lot of times is that those thoughts are, we have choice in what kind of thoughts we have in our own minds. So, so thinking about and noticing what you're thinking and asking how you could reframe that. Negative thinking can be reframed to a more positive way of thinking about something, or there could be a different way of looking at it, or just calling out your own self for the kinds of ways that you might be thinking about things that might be limiting your own understanding of what's possible. So we are coming into this point of integration, of updating our beliefs, our thinking, our understanding, and how that shows up in our daily lives in terms of how we think about the everyday issues, challenges, problems that we have that show up in our lives, and how our thinking about those can be infused with more of a higher picture, a bigger picture of meaning, of truth, of what's important to us, and so what our hearts feel and know and want. So how can that bigger guiding spiritual principle, i.e., what is really important to you, right? What really matters in the big picture? Is it your ability to connect with the people you love? Is it your ability to put energy and time into your creative work? Is it simply your ability to take care of yourself so you can heal and grow and just be nourished, right? That has value in itself. So integration, updating how we think about things, maybe looking at some core beliefs we have about how we need to operate in the world and what we need to do on a day-to-day basis, thinking about routines, thinking about habits and patterns, and how can a bigger picture of understanding about what's important to us help us to shift everyday habits, patterns, and routines to get those habits, patterns, and routines more in alignment with our highest potential. So if you have, a habit where you find yourself rushing in the morning, and that habit is not really, it causes stress and it sets a tone for the rest of your day. That's the kind of thing you could look at. You could go, okay, how am I doing this pattern every day, and how can I notice it? How can I notice that it's happening? How can I notice my thinking? And how can I stop that pattern and breathe some space into it and remind myself, hey, this day has infinite potential. This day could go better than I think it will, right? That maybe there's more time and space than I know. Maybe I'll get more done than I think. Maybe things will go better than I think. So it's just where, noticing where you might have those stressful thoughts and how you can shift them and bring that shift into a new daily habit and routine. Maybe something else for you, and maybe something, whatever it is that you might look at in your own life that you'd like to shift to have it be in more alignment with your truest, highest self and what your truest, highest self needs. So thinking about that today, and of course, all of this is relevant because of the Sun and Neptune conjunct in Pisces. Also Mercury conjunct, or not as close as the Sun is to Neptune, but Mercury is also within three degrees, I think. So so we've got that energy of thinking, of thoughts, how our thoughts flow, and how we can bring that bigger picture of flow into a more easeful daily life, and a daily life that is more in alignment with who we are, what is healthy for us, how we can operate more from our heart and from a place of trust than from our fears and a need for control, right? So, and then we have also involved in that T-square with the third quarter moon, we have Mars in Gemini, just reminding us again, that our thoughts are our choices, and we have choices about our thoughts and the ways that we gather information, the ways we process information. Those can be something that we can do consciously and purposefully from a place of life-affirming sense of purpose, rather than by accident or by default, because it's our old habit and pattern, or what we've the messages that we have internalized, right? So instead of the internalized messages from the past, things we've been told, things we've taken on as our own belief systems, we can not, it doesn't have to be a huge change. It could be a small shift, make a small shift to a healthier way of thinking, which translates to a healthier way of operating, which translates to feeling less stress in our lives, which translates to being more effective, etc. So find those little ways, those little places where you might be having some unnecessary stress in your day, or where there's something you can do differently, and to be more in alignment with your highest self, and to follow your own guiding light. So living according to that bigger truth of what is important to you. That is what this whole moon cycle has been focused on, is connecting with that bigger picture of meaning and what's really important to you in your life. So this is kind of, we're winding down now. This will be the final week of this moon cycle. We're going to integrate some of these changes in our beliefs, which is what Sagittarius is about, and looking at how we can do things in a way that is more on purpose and living in alignment with our highest potential. There you go. Thank you so much for being here with me for the Astrology of Unshakable Self-Care, as we take care of ourselves in alignment with the planets and how they remind us to be our best selves. You can learn more about me at astrologyheals.com. Thank you so much for being here and for subscribing. And if you are looking for more information, check out all the other videos I have. I post every day, and I've got information for you that may be just the thing you need to hear. You can just scan through the titles and see what looks interesting. So much out there, and just sometimes, following that flow of your intuition of what you should listen to, and it might be just the right thing. So thank you so much for being here. I will see you next time. And thanks again for your support. Bye for now.